Hello, and welcome to Spotlight on Atlantic TV. My name is Eudora Kelly. On this program, Spotlight, we deal with topical issues that affect our country, Nigeria, and we have been on a series profiling candidates for the 2023 general presidential elections. Today, I have a special guest with me. I have the presidential candidate for the Action People's Party, APP, Honorable Charles Nnadi. Honorable Nnadi, you're welcome to Atlantic Television. It's a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you very much, madam.
What brings you into politics? Give us a little background about who Honorable Charles Nnadi is. Tell Nigerians who is Honorable Charles Nnadi and why your decision to go into the 2023 presidential election. What difference are you bringing to the table?
All right, my name is Honorable Charles Nnadi. I'm from Imo State, precisely Owerri North local government. I have this desire right from time for leadership, because where we are coming from, Africa, where we are coming from, and Nigeria, where we are coming from, there are a lot of problems that most of our leaders have not been able to correct. And I think I stand in a better position to correct that problem. I desire to lead and to make selfless service to the country. Most of our leaders are not selfless. They never render selfless service. And I think they are visionless. That is why we are where we are today. If proper leadership has been given to this great nation, I think we would have gone beyond this. If you look at our contemporaries, Brazil, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, they have given us miles away from where we were in the 60s to where we are now. We are just like kids to them. So I believe that I have what it takes for quality and better leadership. That is why I'm here.
You're going against very formidable parties in a crowded field of about 18 presidential candidates. What stands Action People's Party apart from the two legacy parties that have what we call in Nigeria structures? The APC and the PDP. The APC is the current party in power, and the PDP is the major opposition party. And then we also have a third force, more or less, Mr. Peter Obi, who is making waves in the country, of the Labour Party. How does APP stack up against these parties?
Okay, thank you very much. APP is a party with vision. Vision by great young men. And as we always say, we are chassis. A chassis is better than Tokumbo.
So the other parties are the Tokumbo?
They are the Tokumbos.
And you are the new chassis?
We are the new chassis.
Okay, that's you're branding yourself as a new party, fresh off the manufacturing line.
Exactly. You cannot compare chassis with Tokumbo.
Okay.
So those who are in other parties have been tried and they have failed. If they have performed, would have moved forward.
So what is APP's manifesto? What is APP telling Nigerians that no, don't look at these two other parties. Go for APP. APP is the party that's going to solve your problems.
APP, like I continue to say, APP will assemble the best brain to work for Nigeria. If we win election, we are going to assemble the best brain for this country. We are better than those who have been tried. They have been tried and they have failed. So we'll do better than them.
You're coming from a part of the country that is racked with insecurity currently. You are an indigene of Imo State, and we know the security challenges that Imo State is facing with the question of unknown gunmen, with the question of sit at home. What do you tell the national when you're coming from a place where security is a great challenge? And what are you going to bring to the table when back home, they say charity begins at home, and back home you're grappling with problems that seem to have overwhelmed the government of the day?
Okay, I'm not in government to take control of security situation in Imo State. I'm not in government yet to take control of security situation in Imo State. We have a governor who's supposed to take control, who's the chief security officer of the state. And he claims
Let's just assume for 1 second, Honorable Charles Nnadi was or is the governor of Imo State. What would you do to tackle unknown gunmen in Imo State? Let's just assume just a theory.
There are many things that are creating
that you would
problems.
do differently.
Empowering the youth, because if you look at this issue of unknown gunmen, 90 or 95% of them are youth. Most of them are jobless. If they have job, they wouldn't have time to involve themselves in such nefarious activities.
So you think it's an economic question?
It's an economic question. It's an economic problem.
Is it not a question of secession and a question of wanting a country of their own, the agitation for Biafra?
I don't think so. That is not the truth. If wanting for Biafra will not lead you to carrying gun to kill your brother or carrying gun to kill somebody, if they're actually looking for secession. So
you believe giving them jobs would
exactly
take this problem away?
Exactly.
That would be the way you would address the issue of unknown gunmen?
Exactly.
What would you do as concerns the general insecurity in the country? Because we're grappling right now with Boko Haram in the northeast, and then we're grappling with banditry and kidnapping in the northwest and the north central. How would you look at this holistically to deal with security all across board if from day one you are Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria?
Okay. First of all, our borders are very porous. If our security agencies know their job or are doing what they are supposed to do, at least they will have control the inflow of arms and ammunition coming into the country, illegal arms and ammunition. 2.
So you would reinforce the borders?
I will reinforce the border.
Are you going to build a wall across the border, or you would just put more personnel?
Of course, and they will be well trained.
Okay.
And putting the right people at the Home Affairs in all the security agencies.
Okay.
Creating, like I made mention, creating employment will equally reduce insecurity.
Okay.
How do we create employment? We do that first by tackling power.
You had told me off camera that you have a 3-point agenda.
Yes.
And what is this 3-point agenda that APP intends to give Nigerians?
Yeah,
power number 1?
Education and security.
And security.
Yeah. Once they are employed or engaged, most of them will not have time. So when somebody has nothing to do, he can think otherwise. So most of these youth who are doing this, if they are engaged, they will not have time to be creating problem in the society.
Do you believe in zoning?
Yes, I believe in zoning. And this is the best time for the Southeast to produce the president. And I'm heading one organization, the Nigerian president of Southeast Extraction, the Nigerian president of Igbo Extraction. If other people, the North have taken theirs, the Southwest have taken theirs.
You believe it's the turn of the Igbos now?
This is the turn of the Igbos.
It's the turn of the Igbos, they should be given a chance.
Yes.
And I do know that there are a number of Igbos in the field. There's Peter Obi. What do you think your chances are against Peter Obi? Because there seems to be a movement amongst the young people concerning putting Obi forward. Do you think you stand a chance on the podium against Peter Obi? What are your chances?
Peter Obi is Peter Obi. Charles Nnadi is Charles Nnadi. We have our own plan and we have our own way, because there is still a lot of time from now to February next year for things to be corrected or things can change. I think Peter Obi is doing well. I know what I'm doing, but I think I'm better off to be president than any other person.
How would you sell this message to the young people to say, you need to choose Charles Nnadi rather than Peter Obi?
We are creating it probably through this platform and other platforms You know, we, like I told you,
because some people might say you're untested, you're uncharted waters. Peter Obi has been tested in terms of having been a governor, an executive in the field. Okay. He's been a governor for 8 years. And then they will say, what about Honorable Charles Nnadi? What has Charles Nnadi brought? He's an aspirant, he's been an aspirant in the Imo State gubernatorial elections in 2015, which he didn't scale through. So how do we know? It's an unknown quantity. What would you say to people that say that?
Like I made mention earlier, chassis is always better than Tokumbo.
Okay, so Peter Obi could be said to be a Tokumbo. among those that have been used. Okay.
Among all the Tokumbos.
So Charles Nnadi
is chassis.
Is a new chassis.
Yes. If the Tokumbos have been working, Nigeria would have moved forward for a long time.
So Nigerians should trust the new chassis.
Yeah, of course. I think you can never compare chassis and Tokumbo.
Okay. Now, let's go to the big legacy parties. How will Charles Nnadi stack against a Jagaban? A member of a candidate for the ruling party. They have all the structures. They have governors, sitting senators. APP doesn't have any of this. How would you go against Jagaban in the field?
Nigerians are desiring for change. Like you made mention of Jagaban. Jagaban is still a Tokumbo in this game. They have been tried and nothing has come out of it. Because if something has come out of it, the dollar will not be 730 or 720 as of today. The Nigerian economy would have grown. Things would have been better. We wouldn't be experiencing unknown government. We wouldn't be experiencing Boko Haram and all that.
And also the PDP aspirant presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. What's your take on him as well?
These people have been in the scene for a long time. He has been here. He has been in political scene or political climate for over 2 decades. He has been a part of the system from 1999 to 2007, and partially people who brought the present government from 2015 to 2019. And where are we? We are nowhere. I'll
go back to Jagaban again. What's your take on the Muslim ticket?
I think that's a private issue for them. We're only concerned for ourselves. Muslim ticket or Christian ticket, I don't think is an issue. What is an issue is, I think, what the person has on the table, can present on the table.
What do you think about the quest for restructuring?
I think that's the best thing that will happen to Nigeria.
How would you go about restructuring if you are the occupant of Aso Villa?
We can do that. You know, the president does not have automatic power to make law. The president does not have power to make law. So when we win an election next year, we can influence or talk to the National Assembly.
This is a National Assembly that will be peopled with people from PDP and APC and other parties.
Are you sure?
And that Charles Nnadi is coming in from APP.
Are you sure?
How are you going to, you know how recalcitrant the National Assembly can be when you are from a different arm or a different political party? How are you going to convince them to come on board with
How are you sure that our party will not have majority in 2023?
Okay.
Our party, which was the way things are, we are fielding candidates all over the country.
Okay.
So we're expecting to have majority as well. So we cannot win the presidency and we wouldn't win members of the National Assembly.
Okay. So are you an advocate for state police?
Of course, that's part of restructuring we're talking about.
Okay.
State police is one of the things in restructuring content.
What about the agitation for secession? How would you handle that? You have people like Nnamdi Kanu. What would you do with him? Would you offer him a political solution and take him out of detention?
We can discuss on that at appropriate time. You know, there are certain issues you don't, give out to the public.
And the Yoruba nation as well.
This issue of agitation, Nigeria, Biafra, Oduduwa, and all that. All these things are connected to unemployment.
Okay.
If the youth are employed, all these things will not be. They will not hear about them again.
Do you have a plan for education? Currently, we know what's happening. We're in going into the 8th month of the strike between the ASU members and the federal government. And the schools, tertiary institutions have been shut for nearly 8 months, and students are out there locked out of school. What would Charles Nnadi do to ensure that this doesn't reoccur or repeat itself in your administration?
Yeah, this issue of ASU strike or ASU problem with federal government didn't start today. It has been there for a long time. Different administration during Jonathan's time, even during Obasanjo's time and present government. I think if we win an election, we'll be able to call ASU, discuss with them, and know actually what their problem.
They've already told Nigerians what their problems are. They already, these were agreements that were signed pre the Buhari administration, and they're still asking for those same things. So what would you, how would you solve it differently?
The problem is the federal government probably might not have all the money to give them.
And you probably would not have all the money.
That's what I'm saying. We can discuss. Yeah, we can call them and discuss. You take this and you take this, or you leave this, based on the economic situation. I think they are Nigerians. They will understand with us. That is why I told you that we must make an academic.
So you still think that the federal government should continue to fund the tertiary institutions in the same mode and manner it is presently?
In most parts of the world, federal government make input in tertiary institutions. It's not only in Nigeria.
I know, but are you looking at a hybrid mix that might involve the schools also having some form of partial independence where they can also source for funds?
Oh, exactly. Exactly. So that is what we intend doing.
What would you do with out-of-school children? Presently, as constituted, Nigeria is one of the topmost countries with out-of-school children. You have the Almajiri system in the north, where the kids are roaming the streets and under tutelage of religious scholars and all of that. How are you going to handle that? And you have out-of-school children, not just concentrated mainly in the north, but also found in the south as well. How? Not I will, but how will you tackle this problem that seems intractable?
There are so many ways we can do that. Even there is already an established way of handling out-of-school children by federal government providing nomadic education, which for some time has stopped. We can, ride on that and bring in professionals who can take care of such things, such system, so that it can work very well.
But we're talking of also in the south. The nomadic is really in the north. How would you tackle out-of-school children in the south, where issues of economy has made parents put their kids as traders on the streets? Little children, underage kids, trading out of school because they want to help their parents feed.
Just the same economic situation. We can equally be giving a free education to less privileged. If you actually confirm as a less privileged parent, we can give you your children free education, and like policemen, soldiers who are within the rank and file, their children equally should be given, will be given free education. I think that will equally help to reduce out of school children.
At this point, we'll take a quick breather and we'll be right back with you with Honorable Charles Nnadi of the APP party. Welcome back to Spotlight on Atlantic Television. Today I'm with Honorable Charles Nnadi of the APP, the Action People's Party. And we've been talking about how he intends to govern and rule Nigeria, if given a chance in 2023 general elections. Now we're going to go to the issue of healthcare. We know that we've had a lot of brain drain recently. Our nurses and doctors are leaving the country in droves. What are you going to do about healthcare in Nigeria? We know that the mortality rate in Nigeria infant mortality rate is very high, and we know also that a lot of the tertiary hospitals don't even have the basic drugs, and we have issues of fake medicines within the drug dispensing line. So how do you tackle that?
Like I told you earlier, we intend to bring the best brain in this country, whether in diaspora or within. And two, we'll run a corruption-free administration, whereby you don't pad any money in the budget, you don't add what is supposed to go to Department A should go to Department A, and what should go to Department B should go to Department B. If appropriate steps are taken, those Nigerians who've traveled abroad, for those professionals, let me say, like doctors and nurses who traveled abroad to take up employment there, they will equally come back.
How are you going to entice them when you have a country that is not giving good salaries and good payments,
If corruption is being taken care of, increasing their salary wouldn't be a problem. When somebody is being paid, he can come back and work. They are going there. There's nothing else they are getting there. It's not a higher salary because Nigeria is not paying them well. They're underpaid. Some are underemployed there. Right? So if they are given what is due to them, what they are supposed to get, there will be no need for them to travel to abroad. Okay. And Nigerians have better and one of the best doctors globally.
And the issue of electricity, how would you tackle electricity as well?
Okay, I told you that power, like I intend even being Minister of Power.
Because you will be the Minister of Power, you take that on.
Yes, as a businessman, I know what I'm passing through without electricity, without constant electricity. So it is a very serious issue. It will be a very serious issue in our administration.
How are you going to tackle it?
We talk to development partners, who talk to those who are into the companies that are into power, talk to people who are already improved their electricity, the countries that already improved their electricity.
Like
I know
what countries?
Take Egypt, and some of them have done that, to be able to know and understand how they were able to improve their own electricity. They will give us timeline to do that.
Okay.
Not maybe you give us 2 years and you will end up in 10 or 20
We have an
years.
aging transmission system, which is the reason why a lot of times we have blackouts. We have system failure. What are you going to do about that? Are you going to liberalize power and say the states should also have the ability to be able to provide for themselves as well, or are you just going to leave it still under the national, where the federal government is responsible solely for power?
Yeah, federal government can do, just you made mention of restructuring. Federal government can do, while the states can equally do an issue of power. If as of now, we're only able to generate 4,000 megawatts out of 250 million people, and we're only generating 4,000 megawatts, meaning that 15 people in Nigeria share a pass my neighbor generator, which is about 950 watts. If you divide 250 by 4 million. I think 4,000 megawatts is 4 million watts. If you're able to divide it, will give you, and you divide it by 950, which is what a pass my neighbor generator is, meaning that 15 people in Nigeria use one I pass my neighbor. So
coming to the issue of agriculture, what would you bring to the table in agriculture? We have issues like farmers and herdsmen clashes and all of that, and we have issues like importation of dairy products. Nigerians depend so much on importation of a lot of their needs. How are we going to turn this around where our foreign exchange is not being shipped abroad just because we want to eat?
Nigeria is blessed with, Nigeria is a blessed country when it has to do with agriculture. And I think one of the challenges of this, of agricultural development in Nigeria is we don't have modern equipment, and we don't involve in ranching. The federal government is supposed to encourage ranching, not nomadic style of rearing cow. I think with ranching and with mechanization, agricultural mechanization, Nigeria will be the food basket of Africa.
So you are more or less endorsing the Ruga policy of the Buhari administration?
To an extent, there are certain things that are there, certain things there that are good, certain things that are good in that Ruga.
So you think the federal government should be able to go into all 36 states and set up branches?
It shouldn't be 36 states. Not every state is an agricultural area. For instance,
so you believe whoever is interested, whichever state is interested and wants to be a part of the program?
With Kogi, Benue, Niger, Abuja, Kaduna, Nigeria we shouldn't have problem of food. We don't need to do Ruga all over the country. Even with Sokoto to Katsina, those areas can give Nigeria what it takes in terms of agriculture. So
with the farmers' headers clashes, you're going to put a stop to the nomadic form of cattle rearing. When you come into government, you're going to stop it. It's going to be a thing of the past.
Of course.
Okay.
That is the way it is done in other developed nations. So
it's going to be ranching. They would have to stay in one place and make sure that they take care of their cattle.
Exactly. We can encourage them, giving them facility. By giving them facility, women can give you facility to do ranching.
And some of these people believe that it's a way of culture. It's a way of life for the Fulani, and stopping them more or less is hindering them from practicing what they have done decades and age.
First of all, you orientate them.
Okay.
You can reorientate them, right? If they are reorientated, they will see reason why government is doing that.
And as regards housing, we know a lot of Nigerians right now are homeless. We have informal settlements across the cities, across the states in the country. As the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what would you do differently to be able to impact housing, to make sure that Nigerians are able to own homes, young graduates coming out, young couples are able to, or are you just going to leave it for the private sector as it's currently being done now?
The essence of setting up Federal Mortgage Bank is to encourage people having access to housing. But the issue is that I don't think Federal Mortgage Bank is running the way it's supposed to be. If it is running the way it's supposed to be, many people will have access to mortgages. But that is not what we are seeing today. So in my own administration, I will encourage them and will fund them. So if they are well funded, I think that problem will be solved.
Are you going to go with the issue of independence? I know that this administration has done a lot to try to get independence for the judiciary and the local government council. What's your take on the independence? First line budgeting for the local government councils, removing them from the grasp of the state governors and making sure that their funds go directly to them without having to route it through the state governors. How would you tackle that?
Independence of judiciary.
Yes, and independence of local government areas.
Okay, let's talk about independence of judiciary. Under the most circumstances, judiciary is it should be independent. And that's the way the law.
That's the ideal, but it's not the presently being run that way.
But that's the position of the law, that local government judiciary is independent. So it depends on who is the leader, who is the president, the way you want, who is the governor. The way you want it is the way. Then if you don't want it to be independent, it becomes a different problem. But we, in my own administration, judiciary must be independent. That's the way it must be.
And the local government councils?
And the local government councils too.
They would have first line budgeting, they would get their money directly from the federal government, independent of the states.
Exactly.
But we have laws also that states where they say joint accounts should go for funds that go to local government councils.
We'll look into that law and see what we can do.
About making those changes.
Exactly. But local government, because this local government is independent, if local government is equally is well funded and independent, at least it will encourage a lot of things in government. It will encourage the local people. It will make the local people to have feelings of the government.
How are you going to impact the youth? We know that this election is going to be an election that is going to be driven by young people. We see the numbers, them coming out on the streets. You are also a young man as well that can consider like a champion for youth. What message are you going to give to the youth to tell them that Charles Nnadi is going to be on your side in 2023 and beyond?
I told you earlier that we are chassis. Chassis means we are new and we are very strong. The youth. I'm equally, can I call myself the youth?
Yes, I think you can. You can be given a pass.
If I can call
yourself a youth as well.
Our government will equally encourage the youth in every of their endeavor, because it's equally, who is heading the government is a youth. Irrespective of the fact that we equally encourage.
Would you be able to say, okay, my cabinet is going to be an average age limit of this? What would you say to that?
That is where I'm coming to. That is where I'm coming to. At least we have about not less than 50%
of the cabinet
being occupied by the youth.
And this is within an age range of, when you say being occupied by the youth, you have to be specific. What age range are you going to say?
Less than 40.
Less than 40?
40, yes. Okay. Less than 40 years.
Okay, it's going to be 50% populated by
the youth.
By youth, your cabinet.
Of course.
That's a promise to the young people.
Yes.
Okay. And also, you know, the young people these days are making waves around the world, especially Nigerians, in terms of entertainment industry, in terms of Nollywood, in terms of music. What special offer are you going to make to them in those areas, Nollywood and the musical sector?
Like I said, we encourage the youth. We think we have Ministry of Entertainment.
You will have a Ministry of Entertainment, okay?
Which will be run by Minister of Entertainment.
Okay.
And equally, a young man of probably 30 years, I think we had it.
Are you going to make special funding?
Of course.
Okay.
We are going to do that. We can give special interventions and give proper funding to that department, because it will encourage a lot of things in this country.
Okay, let's go to the issue of the women. We know that women have been crying for affirmative action. They've been crying that they need positions, not just appointive positions, they want elective positions, that the parties should give them an opportunity to be elected, to be representatives. How does APP fare in terms of women? What are the percentages? Can you give me figures and numbers concerning representatives of APP in terms of the Senate, the House of Reps, and the House of Assembly? What's if just off the top of your head, let me know if you're a gender-friendly candidate.
Okay, you know we are in a democracy, so I cannot appoint. In issue of election, it's not by appointment. If you're a woman and you win, if the person wins an election.
You know, some parties gave women a free pass, that they did not have to pay for the forms. So I don't know what was APP's.
Yes, we have that in our party as well.
Okay.
We have that.
So women got their forms free of charge.
Yes.
Okay, they did not have to pay for the forms.
Exactly. But the issue is, if you get those things free of, if you get form, it has not made you to win the election.
Definitely, you still have to go through the primaries.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So what are the numbers? I think
it's not up to 10%.
It's not up to 10. Yes, so that means APP is not really female gender friendly, so to speak.
It doesn't mean that way.
Okay, so now let's hone it down to your administration. What are the percentages you are going to give to the women on appointment?
Exactly. That is what I expect from you. In terms of appointment, which I can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you promising the women?
At least I'll promise them 20%.
20%?
Yes.
20% doesn't seem good enough on the table, sir. 20% just doesn't seem good enough on the table.
We have to be realistic.
You have to be realistic. 20% is what you can offer them. So Nigerian women, you're hearing Honorable Charles Nnadi offering you 20%. 20% on the table. We know about, there was a 5-point agenda the women took, civil organizations took to the National Assembly. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No,
there were 5-point agenda, yes. They talked about affirmative action. They also talked about issue of citizenship for their spouses. And there were so many other issues that women took over there that, please, hear us, listen to us, help make changes in the Constitution that would empower women and put them on the same footing, or if not the same footing, that would, and we know that really the population, or the voting population, is populated more by women than men. I hope you're aware of that.
Almost a 50-50. Okay.
Yes, but slightly over 50% are women. So now that issue of spousal citizenship, What do you think about it?
Okay,
That if a woman marries a foreigner, the foreigner should be able to get a Nigerian passport, just like it's the other way around. When a man marries a foreign woman, she's also entitled to citizenship.
In my own administration, we can influence the National Assembly to look into it.
To make those changes.
Make those changes.
Okay. Okay, that's a good one. So the women have the promise that Honorable Charles Nnadi is going to be gender friendly to them. Now we're going to come to the issue of employment. Generally, we know that Nigeria is in a crisis right now, so many unemployed. If you can give me just 2 things you would do if you get into office, 2 things you would do immediately to change this around, this unemployment where you have people, graduates coming out of school and they can find jobs. How are you going to transmit this to make sure that people are employed, not just the graduates, but also the secondary school leavers get an opportunity out of secondary school, they can also find something to do? Okay,
like I told you that one of our center points, one of our agendas is power. With constant electricity, we wouldn't be talking about unemployment. If electricity, we have even in 20 hours electricity in a day. I'm giving you an instance. If we have 20 hours electricity in a day in Nigeria, we wouldn't be talking about youth unemployment, this unemployment, and all that employment. Because power has a lot to do with creating jobs, creating wealth, and so many things. So as we are going to look into power, equally, we are already creating employment. With power, you have even created a lot of employment.
What about the issue of resource control? How would Honorable Charles deal with resource control for those in the Niger Delta area that are still agitating that they want to be in charge of their resources under the ground? And they want to pay taxes to the federal government, but they don't want the federal government coming to their backyard and taking their resources.
The issue of resource control is a matter of discussion. If I win an election, we can discuss with them, even if it entails increasing the percentage.
Right now, they're on 13%.
13%. We can make it 20%.
You can offer them 20%.
20%, yes.
Okay. Okay, and we have the issue of the refineries. What are you going to do with these refineries that seem to be draining the nation? Nigerians are spending the bulk of our money into oil subsidies, while we have non-functional refineries. Are you going to sell off the refineries? What are your plans? In fact, right now, NNPC is supposed to have been privatized, a limited liability. How are you going to go about that?
So start with, government has no business doing business.
Okay.
Nigeria owning refinery is unnecessary. Dangote is building his own. And some other.
So the 4 standing refineries, you will privatize them? You privatize them?
Of course.
Okay, and what are you going to do about subsidies?
If you privatize refineries, we don't have business with subsidies again.
Okay, so there will be no subsidies.
There will be no subsidy.
Your administration.
Exactly. There will be competition among those who are refining petroleum products.
Okay, and the issue of the debt burden, which is a crunch right now. The country is groaning under debt. We are servicing debt with so much of our currency presently. How do you intend to tackle that? Because government is a continuum. What has happened under the APC government will be there at the villa waiting for you from day one.
Of course.
You have the creditors and the debtors knocking down the door.
Exactly.
So how are you going to restructure, or what are you going to do? Tell Nigerians.
If you come in next year, first of all, we'll look into all those loans. If possible, recover those you can recover, because I'm sure that some of those loans, went into private pocket. So we can be able to find out where and who took what.
So you believe there's corruption in some of these loans that were taken?
Exactly. 2, we can discuss with the creditors and say, like Obasanjo did, right?
You're going to go to the route of seeing, like, sit down and
discuss with them.
Okay. And what if they're not willing to put something on the table for you?
They must. If somebody's owing you and tells you that, let me discuss with you, instead of paying you 5,000
so that means the cost of governance, you're going to do something concerning, because a lot of the loans also, apart from infrastructure, we have issues with cost of governance. Are you going to collapse some of this, reduce some of these agencies?
Exactly. We are going to reduce cost of governance in Nigeria. We are going to reduce it to the minimal level. Not wastage. We don't encourage wastage.
So you're going to retrench some workers?
Not necessarily retrenching workers, per se. Not necessarily retrenching workers. Unnecessary expenditure in Nigeria. There are things that are not called for, and most of what this.
So you're going to leave the structure as it is currently.
Exactly.
You're going to leave the agencies as they are. You're not going to reduce them, tinker with them to make sure that we have a lot of our money is not going on overhead of salaries and all of that.
Exactly. What we are going to do, some of the unnecessary expenditures that they get themselves involved in, we'll reduce them. I will even probably possibly remove them. Right? And if you do A, B to Z, you will be able to save a lot of money. And again, we will discuss some of those, like I told you, we'll discuss with some of the creditors. If we can't pay, because if a man is owing and he can't pay, you cannot kill him. Instead of paying 5,000, for instance, you can be paying 3,500.
Okay.
So far as we are paying,
okay.
I think they will agree to it.
Restructure. Okay. How do you intend to fund your campaign?
Okay. A lot of Nigerians are with me.
Okay.
The young ones, the elderly, they are with me. Just as the way it is in the Western world. You don't need to have a lot of money.
But politicking is expensive in Nigeria.
Yes.
It's a big game. It's a game of money and it's a game of numbers.
Yes.
Are you sure that Charles will not be outwitted with the big wigs like the Jagabangs and the Atikus? You sure that you're going to be able to match them? These are people that are going to bring dollars to play, not naira to play. They'll come to the field with dollars.
No, but what matters is the end justifies the means. Are you winning the election?
Okay.
The end is victory.
Okay.
So we are sure of victory.
Okay. So how is the money going to come down the stream? It's the question I'm still asking, Honorable Charles.
Coming down the stream line.
Yes. Is it that you're going to ask people to contribute and to be a part of this? Or you have some backers somewhere, some political bigwigs,
we don't have
godfathers godfathers that will bring the money.
We don't have godfathers. Okay. What we have is godly Nigerians.
I love that. You have godly Nigerians. Okay.
Who are contributing to salvaging the country.
Just in a minute, Honorable Charles, as we round this up, it's been a wonderful time speaking with you. Just talk to Nigerians and tell them why they should choose Honorable Charles out of this field of 18.
Fellow Nigerians, I want you to trust me. I am chassis among the Tokumbo. It will be good for all of us to take this nation to a greater height. If you can come and join me, I think victory should be ours. Thank you very much.
So that's it. This is where we call it a wrap on Spotlight on Atlantic Television. Stay tuned. We're going to bring you another presidential candidate as we profile them down the line and give you opportunities, a platter to choose from. Don't be deceived by the saying that it's just 3 or 4 big political parties. Believe me, Nigerians, you have an opportunity to make a choice. We're going to put all of them through our table right here where we're going to be asking them the tough questions and telling them to tell you what they are going to offer you. So please give us an opportunity to bring them. They have promised they're going to serve. Let us see what they bring and they offer Nigerians. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being with you, Honorable Charles Nnadi, the presidential candidate for the Action People's Party. Thank you very much for giving us the honor and the pleasure of hosting you. Thank you very much. See you on the next episode of Spotlight.